There are organizations out there that are leveraging Salesforce in powerful ways. Trailside Talk is here to shine a light on their successes and their stories.
I'm your host, Hannah Thompson. Join me on the trail to CRM success as we dig into some real-life, high-impact journeys, from challenges to triumphs and everything in between. Let's explore this story together. Welcome to Trailside Talk. I am joined today by Reverend Wayne Clark, President and CEO of the Methodist Foundation of Arkansas, which provides services and opportunities for faithful stewards to support Methodist ministries. And we at WhiteRock really treasure the opportunity to work with the Methodist Foundation of Arkansas and to get to work with you, Wayne, as well. So thanks for taking the time to join me today.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity and appreciate you hosting and helping me through this.
Could you tell us a little bit about yourself and your background?
Sure. So I probably came to this position in a unique way. I am an ordained United Methodist minister. I have served local churches for about 10 years in Arkansas, Texas, and in the United Kingdom. I've also been a chaplain at a hospital at Children's Medical Center in Dallas. But I was also a college chaplain at a small liberal arts college in Arkansas for about 20-something years. And when I was at the college, towards the end of my chaplaincy, the college asked me if I would be a fundraiser. And I didn't really want to do that, didn't know what that entailed. And so after several months of conversations, I finally agreed to do that. And then really started growing into that and enjoying that work. I was serving on the board of the Methodist Foundation for Arkansas. Loved learning what was happening. And the president, who'd been there like 35 years, actually died fairly recently from a cancer diagnosis. And so I thought I would be retiring from the college where I was serving, but for some reason I felt like I wanted to try this, and I did, and so here I am. And so people will say, "Now you're a minister, but you do finance," but I'm not a finance person. I'm not a lawyer, and but I do enjoy what I get to do, and it's a different type of ministry that I've got to do. So that's a little bit who I am. I guess real quickly, personally, I am married, have 2 adult children, and they're each married, and no grandchildren. So that is my personal life, and anything else I'm happy to answer as far as that kind of thing.
Well, thank you for sharing. Could you speak a little bit to the Methodist Foundation of Arkansas's mission and how you support the Methodist communities in Arkansas?
So we're like a financial institution, basically. So I won't give any examples there because I don't, but anybody who's managing money for individuals or an institutions, we provide the same services. We provide different options for investment, whether it's heavier in stocks or heavier in bonds or kind of blended, middle of the road type accounts. We offer those for churches. We have about 170 plus churches in Arkansas that are United Methodist. We also have Methodist institutions. There are 2 colleges that are Methodist related that have accounts with us. And then we have individuals who will open accounts that are benefiting a church or an institution. And then we also manage trust that have been entrusted to us after someone's death. And so we are managing over $225 million. About half of that are those trusts. We're doing exactly what the folks have instructed us to do. And the other half of that money are those churches and institutions. And again, we do what they tell us to do, but it's just kind of the way that they are owned and operated. A good number of the trusts are not designated. So that allows us to have a pretty robust grant program. And in 2024, we gave out just over $1.8 million in grants to churches, to the annual conference, to these institutions and nonprofits. So we're a little over 60 years old. We're the seventh largest United Methodist Foundation in the country. Although with our grant program, we give up more in grants than any other foundation in the country. So we're proud about that too.
That's awesome. Great work that you guys are doing. I know you mentioned a few, but what are some of the largest impact milestones that the foundation has had on the Arkansas Methodist community?
Yeah, there's a lot, and you may have to you just stop me if I go too long-winded for you. um, we do, again, we are entrusted with a lot of money, and so we try to be good stewards with that money, and that means whether we are doing what someone has asked us to do through a legal document, whether it's a church who has told us what to do, we want to do exactly what they've said. That discretionary money, someone may have some restrictions on it, but some of them may say, do the kind of ministry that you feel like is helpful. But the restricted ones, one that we're mostly, that a lot of people think about us when they think of the foundation, is a significant scholarship we give to ministers going to seminary. And that was established in a multi-million-dollar gift 20-something years ago. And it pays, currently we're paying $22,000 a year for a minister to go to seminary. That's normally a 3-year educational process. So for every year that the minister receives that $22,000, they are to come back to Arkansas and serve 2 years in ministry in the United Methodist Church. So it's a scholarship, and we do have a few, every once in a while, someone who decides they don't want to go, but so then it becomes a loan. So they're to pay that back. But most of the time it's a scholarship / grant that's paid back with service. So we have over 40 ministers who are serving in Arkansas that have received that scholarship. We've got about 5 in seminary right now. So that's one thing. Another thing, again, this is helping clergy. We received a $1.2 million grant from the Lilly Foundation, and it's for 5 years, and it's to help clergy better their preaching skills. And I should have said, when we're talking about scholarships for seminary, we also provide scholarships for undergrads in a couple of ways. One is the Dollars for Scholars program. We match money that has been given by other people. But a fairly new one we're doing is called the Hope Scholarship. And so we've partnered with some of the local colleges, both public and private. And this has become because of a gift from an anonymous giver who wanted to pledge significant money for the next 4 years. So we tried, when I talk about being good stewards, we try to be faithful for both clergy and lay people. And so we are providing a lot of programs, and most of these are free. We just provided a program for clergy who are retiring, and they came up for a 2-day event, and we provide their lodging and their food, and obviously a program. We are sending about, I'm not sure how many, 50 or 60 students to lay people who are working in the church. They're not clergy, and we're sending them to Perkins School of Theology to continue and add lay leadership type thing. We're offering a laity travel trip. Now, they do have to pay for that. But we also offer a clergy travel trip. We just had a group come back from Greece and Turkey doing a Journeys of Paul. And that one is heavily discounted for clergy. Clergy only pay $1,000 for these international trips, and we help underwrite that. A couple other things real quickly that I'm proud that we've done. We've opened a new office in Northwest Arkansas. There's a lot of population growth, a lot of industry up there. So we've done what we feel like we need to do to make a better presence up there. And it's been successful. We've hired a full-time person who's up there. And then we're trying to branch out to Methodist beyond the United Methodist. So what's called the Pan Methodist. So historically African American churches that are Methodist. So African American Zion, African AME, African American Episcopal. So we do have a few accounts from churches that are considered that Pan Methodist. We have a part-time staff person who's helping us build those relationships. So
that's awesome. Lots of good stuff for sure. Very impactful. What are some of your biggest accomplishments over the past year?
The past year, I probably jumped ahead. That the preaching grant was one. I've mentioned the 1.8 million that we gave out in 2024, and a lot of those are tied. In addition to leadership development, clergy development, laity development, a lot of food ministry type programs that a lot of that grant money is going. We started Arkansas, unfortunately, has a high percentage of children and adults who go hungry every night. So we're trying to do what little we can to help with that, and that includes where there are food deserts in Arkansas, meaning people have to drive significant distances just to get to a grocery store. So we are trying to add what are called food hubs from the food providers. So we've opened one helped open one at a church in Southwest Arkansas. We're looking at one in Northeast Arkansas as well. And so, again, being that good steward of all this great money that we've been blessed with.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of impact in a lot of areas, right?
Yeah. What we're starting for this year, I guess we say, we've just rolled out last week a car charging station program. We've gotten a grant from the folks who actually manage our money. We've matched it with our grant committee, and we are providing 14 EV stations for churches and institutions. They will be free. We'll provide the unit and the delivery of that unit to the church or the institution. They have to do the installation and upkeep and things like that, but we'll pay for that. That's about a $10,000 cost for that unit. So you can see, how we're trying to branch out in other ways as well. We've also are providing camp scholarships this year for the first time. We've never done that. And offering a mission trip. We're trying to do a little more in kind of service opportunities. We did one in January for college students, and we filled a chartered bus of students who went and did all sorts of service projects. And then we did a laity trip just last month down to Louisiana to fill buckets that are sent out when there's a disaster in an area all over across the country.
That is fantastic. So you guys are really fostering great change in the community for sure. With all the change that goes on, what is your methodology for managing change?
Yeah, there's change is constant, as the oxymoron kind of is. But if you're not changing, you're not thriving, I don't think. And so just the basic things, we always are evaluating what we're doing. After any kind of program, we will look at, what did we do well? What do we need to do better next time if we offer this again? So we kind of check in with ourselves fairly frequently. We obviously keep up with changes in the financial market. We have financial managers, but again, just paying attention to that so that we can help the folks that we are managing their money for answer those questions. We work hard with our board so that we're all communicating, we're all giving the same message, saying the same thing. The denomination, the United Methodist Church, has gone through a split in the last couple of years, and I feel like we've come out of that okay. We've actually gained more accounts. We lost a few churches. but we actually had more new churches than we did lose from that. And I think part of that is we were very open and honest, transparent. I sent letters to all the churches telling them that we were still available, no matter how that split happened. Churches that did split off from the United Methodist Church that had accounts with us, I wrote letters specifically to them. I phoned every one of those ministers and board chairs to say, we are still here for you if you want us to. So I think that has helped, just not just putting our heads in the sand and thinking it's going to go away, but just hitting it up front and saying, we know this change, and here's who we are, what we can offer. If you still want to be with us, then we would love that. So I think for us, change is paying attention, educating ourselves, and communicating.
Absolutely. I think that's a great way to look at it. I know our partnership is on the technology side, so I'd love to dig in a little bit on that side as well. How does the foundation leverage the value of your Salesforce system?
Sure. So I've been here 6 years, and when I started, there was not really a system they were using, the customer relations type system, and they were using a very simple type program. And I came from, like I told you, from a college, and I was doing fundraising there, so I had gotten used to what those kind of systems do and how helpful they can be. Without naming names, I will tell you I did not enjoy that system that I was working with, and the college has since changed from that. But so I was fairly new to even understanding what a customer relations system type is. That decision to go with Salesforce was already made when I got here, which was fine. But the more we use, so we've now been using it close to 5 years. And it's just like everything. The more we learn about it, the more we go, well, could we do this? And we'll talk with WhiteRock and our folks there, and I say, of course we can. And they're magically make those things happen, and it's great. But it's opened a lot of new doors in a lot of ways for us to think differently through reports. Yeah, it's been a great partnership.
Glad to hear it. So with WhiteRock being the Salesforce partner that you guys work with, how has WhiteRock helped you leverage the value of Salesforce?
Just first holding our hand and walking us through this. And I'll give you one funny example. The task where you record when you've made a visit, and then there's the option to basically set up a reminder. And I didn't want to trust it, so I would still go to my calendar and I would put, okay, talked with so-and-so, call them, and a month later I would put a note on my regular calendar to show up. And I kept talking with Mike and the folks at WhiteRock, and they said, no, you can put that in there. And so I tried it. I did the Salesforce reminder, but I also did it in my calendar to say, and I even did things like, I've put a reminder in Salesforce on this date, see if it pops up. And sure enough, it did. And I get this great email even as well. So just something simple like that has kind of freed me up, and not freed me up, but also allowed me to do, I could follow this way with this person, or do this, as opposed when I was putting them in my calendar, it's like, I'll remember to do this, but the older I get, I don't remember all of those things. So they've been great at really holding our hands. But beyond that, when we asked them, like I said, could we get a list this way, or could we want to do a mailing for this particular service that we offer, how can we do that? And they would talk us through that and then build a list for us or teach us how to build that list if it wasn't too complicated. We don't do complications. That's why we go to WhiteRock and get them to help us. You are just so incredibly knowledgeable and friendly and attentive and responsive, and all of those in my book are just make for a really good partnership.
I'm so glad. That's what we aim for. So I'm glad we've been able to support you guys in that way.
Yeah.
What would be your description of the work that we've done together as it relates to the communication and accountability side of the partnership?
Well, one way is with our clients, however you want to call it. So a lot of ours, not many, but we have clergy in our Salesforce system. And because of the way the Methodist Church works, clergy move fairly frequently. So that means that portion of our database is constantly changing. So in so many ways, you all have really stepped up and helped us with just basic address changes on that annual basis. And it's really not even annual. They're kind of constantly, but there is a big portion in July of the clergy. If they're going to move, that's when they're moving. So y'all helped us with that to grow and develop more clients. And I think the fact that we are paying more attention to people, they're becoming more engaged because of that. And just great collaboration with y'all.
How do you measure the success of WhiteRock's solutions?
Oh, A+. Coming from a college for 20 something years, that's often how you're measured, is through grades. So an A+, exceptional. Again, I would just say the things that I look at when I'm working with people, both at their staff or they're an organization, is, are they being attentive? Are they returning phone calls and emails in a timely manner? Are they listening to what we are really saying? And then does what they do match up with what we had in our heads when we first started the conversation, whether it's building a list or helping us put out a product, whatever that is. And again, all of those markers for me have been A+. Y'all are so responsive and just easy to have conversation with, and make something that I know is very complicated as far as systems and databases and programming and languages taught, all that kind of stuff, which is none of our expertise. The people at WhiteRock are able to talk to us in ways that we can understand that. And so I appreciate that very much.
Wonderful. I'm so glad. What advice would you give to an organization considering a Salesforce partner like WhiteRock?
I definitely would encourage anybody. When I go to national gatherings of other United Methodist Foundations, and we start talking shop about these things in the CRM, I'm always saying, well, we use Salesforce and they're great. And this is why I like it. And the local company that, is working with us are great as well. So I would tell anybody that Salesforce would be, again, I don't have a lot to measure this by because I hadn't been doing this for my entire working life, but it's just so user-friendly and intuitive is what I really like about it.
Oh, fantastic. What advice would you give to someone in your role at another organization?
Sign up for it. If you don't have anything, then use this one. If you are not happy with another product, definitely look into using Salesforce. So yeah, my colleagues, again, bragging on y'all a lot.
Thank you. We really appreciate it.
And you're welcome. I'm just glad to be a partner with y'all.
Yeah. The feeling is mutual. We really enjoy it too. So thank you, Wayne.
Yeah.
Before we jump into our kind of fun closing questions here, is there anything else that you want to share during our time here today?
No, it's been education. I've just enjoyed learning about this whole system that can keep up with. I'm kind of an organized person anyway, so I kind of get into how things work and how they can be organized better. And I didn't say anything about that. Even, you know, we had this template, so to speak, what our screen looks like. And I don't know at what point that I finally said something to you all about, well, is there any way we could make this? And they said, oh, yeah, we can change this around. Well, that's opened our world. We now have customized our screen to really match what it needs to be. So that's, again, I should have said that earlier. I just now thought about that. But yeah, so that was been so helpful in my work. I use it every day now, you know.
That's what we like to hear around here. So thank you. To close us out here, I'd love to just hear, do you have a favorite book or a resource for success that you might recommend to folks tuning in here?
I listen to audiobooks. I used to commute quite a bit, but and I got to where I was listening to a lot of books all the time. And now that I don't commute because I live locally, I do more. So some of my favorites, an older one that I read, and this author just died. It's called Mrs. Kennedy and Me, and it was written by Clint Hill. He was the Secret Service person assigned to Jacqueline Kennedy. So he wrote about his time with her, and it's a very touching book. He's the man on that famous scene. If you've seen the pictures of when President Kennedy was assassinated and one of the Secret Services diving and laying on top of the car, that's him. So that's a great book. A more recent one was Lula Dean's Little Library of Banned Books, and that's a fun one, but it's also very pivotal. And I just finished one last night called All the Colors of the Dark by Chris Whitaker, and it's one of the best books I've read in a very long time. And I'm gonna throw in movies because I like movies as well. And with Gene Hackman's recent death, I rewatched Hoosiers, and so I would, if you've never seen that one, it's a great feel good, lift them up kind of story. And then a movie that I don't know if it was on the big screen, but Temple Grandin is based on a true story of a woman who has autism, and how she dealt with that and how her mother dealt with that, because it's set maybe in the 60s or 70s, back when autism, it was definitely not near what people can do with it now or how people treated it. But it's a great movie.
Well, those are really good. I might have to check some of those out. Those are really good ones. Thank you.
Yeah. So Temple Grandin's on HBO.
Thank you. Thanks so much for sharing. Last question here, just for those tuning in, if they'd like to get in contact with you, how might they go about doing that?
Sure. The two easiest ways, one is the phone. I like talking to people on the phone. My preference is meeting people face to face. So if that doesn't happen, then a phone call, and our office number is 501-664-8632, or my email address is pretty easy, wclark@umfa.org. So that's United Methodist Foundation, Arkansas, UMFA. So yes, we'd love to hear from anybody.
Thank you so much. Thank you just for taking the time today, Wayne. I've really enjoyed getting to learn more about you, getting to hear more about all the great work you guys are doing at the Methodist Foundation of Arkansas, and just really a pleasure for us at WhiteRock to get to work with you guys. So really appreciate your partnership.
Well, thank you, Hannah. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. And look forward to continuing our partnership.
Well, that concludes another exciting episode of Trailside Talk. Thanks for joining and see you on the next trail.